you part ways.
Or if you part, but you know, you can both mutually agree for anything.
Okay.
Any contract.
Just like a listing agreement.
I mean, any contract is, and you know, that's a good point. The listing agreement. I use that. I always say, look, this is an employment contract. If you're really unhappy with me, I'd rather know it. I'd rather that I find you a great broker you're going to work with, and I'll be perfectly happy to cancel. And we'll do it by mutual agreement. And you have cancellation of contract.
But you need to pay me for the last 3 months.
Well, the thing is, you don't want to let go of them, though, if you think that they're really going to be buying something, you know. So, again, though, if it's not working out, you know, I don't care what kind of contract you work, what kind of even a purchase agreement you use, what kind of thing you do. If it's not going to work out, it's not going to work out. We all know that we've had deals that fall. And, you know,
You may not want to work with them, but you might not want to sign for a year with them. Just do the extension of time.
Years ago, before we had all these contracts, Annette and I were in a transaction, I don't know if you remember, we were like on our 4th counter offer, and she was lying to me, and so was the lender, and I called you and said, I'm canceling my agency with this person, and I am so sorry, Annette, to do this to you, but I'm walking away. And Annette was a listing agent, and I was representing the buyer, and I put it right on her lap, and she had to handle it.
yeah, but see, the thing is it happens a thing like that. That's a lot better to do that
God,
than
yes,
to end
but
up,
we
you know, a
didn't have
couple
any of
years
this.
down the road, and then all of a sudden you have a lawsuit or something like that. So, I mean, that's the thing. You know, when you get back to the first part of my presentation about working with buyers, I mean, I know all of us are under pressure right now to make a living, and I think it's very important. But it's also very important that you make sure that you're dealing with buyers who are ready, able, and willing to work with you, who are going to be honest. And this whole covenant of fair and honest dealing, I mean, when a buyer says to me, well, I can always get out of this contract for any reason, can't I?
Oh.
Well, no, you know, now you can't. The new contract basically says no. If I'm going into this just seeing of how testing the waters or whatever, that is not good faith and honest dealing. So I tell them, look, if you have any hesitation, we're not going to write a contract. I want you to be 100% sure that you want this house, because it's going to be a long road from now. Signing the contract, getting it accepted is only the first part of the apple, isn't it? So that's how I really put it to people. And when people start to keep saying that, you know, I mean, I had this with these clients that I finally rescinded my agency with. You know, I just kept thinking, what is this guy doing? And then I finally figured out, I mean, he was just not dealing with good faith at all.
So how long do you make your BREs for?
My BREs, I do a year. You know, I mean, if they're going to back off of a year, it depends where you are. You know, if you found somebody that really wants something and you get them to do the BRE, like I think what Lauren was saying is great. Do the BRE for 2 weeks or a month or something like that, and then ask for an extension if everything's going okay. But again, if you look at it in the terms of listing your buyers, it's an employment contract between the brokerage and the buyer, just like a listing agreement is a listing between the seller and the brokerage. Okay? And if they're unhappy, you can always mutually cancel. But they can't just cancel
And
you.
you tell them that up front.
I tell them that, yeah. Look, this is an employment contract. If you're not happy with me, I'll help you find a broker you'll be happy with.
But can you unilaterally cancel?
No.
So
No.
they have to agree to let you go too.
Well, but you
Mutual.
Hit
It's-
Andy. I mean MB. Sorry. Hit Andy.
yeah, it just, you know, when you get to, you know, in the course of time with things like this, you're just going to have a better feeling about it. But I think
I
the
think
biggest
so.
thing is to go out and start using it. We have to use the BRNN, and I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with it, but just change your attitude. You know, Molly changed my attitude. She made me realize that I've been going out all these years with people and had nothing, you know.
Well, isn't it also true that we're about the last state in the country that doesn't just use this? I mean,
Right.
people, I had some buyers, I had buyers about 6 months ago that were from Singapore, and they expected it. They were waiting for me to bring it up, you know.
Another agent said from Australia,
Yeah,
they're
everybody
using there
in
too.
most other
Yeah.
places automatically, I mean, buyers, if they're up on the up and up, they just assume that they're going to be making a commitment to you.
But you know, the other thing is too, is that we work really hard for what we do, and we have very expensive properties, and for the time and effort you're going to put into these properties, you deserve to get paid. But you're the one that has to make sure you get paid. The buyer doesn't have to make sure you get paid.
Well, if we all did it, we'd all look really more professional.
That's absolutely right.
Are the
We
other
all
local
did it.
Are the other local brokers doing this too?
I have no idea what the other local brokers are doing.
You know, why didn't do it?
Yeah, but I will tell you this. I'll tell you a real funny story real quickly, and then we'll close. on an open house, I met a couple that came separately, so I didn't even know they were connected, you know. 2 different people, 2 different times, whatever. So I'm closing up, I'm picking up my signs, I'm really trying to get someplace, you know how it is, closing up, you know, getting out of an open house. And they both drive up in the same car and they go, oh, by the way, we really like the house, we think we want to make an offer. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, great. So I told them I got to get my signs, meet me at the office, hope that the conference room was open. Was glad I had my computer in my trunk. Got here and sat down, and the first thing I did is I launched into my agency. And my agency takes about a half an hour. And did the whole agency, did the BRNN, they were fine, everything's great, we wrote an offer. And then they told me after we were all done that they are both attorneys and they have bought tons of properties and they have never had agency explained to them.
Wow.
So you can put yourself at the, I mean, so now these are really good clients of mine because they understand that I'm coming from a position of knowledge and strength. And that's basically all you're getting paid for, you guys, is your knowledge, right? So don't work for free. It's that easy.
I have a quick question. The buyer brokers that we have, I have a license as a buyer broker agent. In the beginning, when we first went to school to do that, they said that we could get around dual agency by having a buyer broker agent.
But see, that's a nasty, the problem is that the problem with the buyer broker accreditation,
Correct.
and that's why it's a tough, I suggest you take it, but you've got to take it with a caveat.
Right.
It's based on a national scenario, and
Okay.
agency in every state is different, okay? Agency in the state of California only allows a company that lists properties to be disclosed dual agents, or if the company wishes, and there are companies that wish to only be listing agents, okay? It's Part A or Part B of the agency law. South Bay Brokers has made the decision many, many years ago that when we represent a buyer and a seller, we will be disclosed dual agents. There is no choice. You cannot be a buyer's exclusive agent if you're going to sell South Bay Brokers agent. Okay, so you can't do that, Leanne.
Okay.
But I mean, but
Well, I
that's
haven't, but
No,
in
but
the
that's-
very beginning, that's how they sold it to
well,
us
no,
to
I
go
know
to
that's how
school.
they sold it to you, but you know, the other thing it's really interesting, if you look at the buyer agency agents that started out there, most of them have changed over, haven't they?
Yep.
Because you buy a property through me, and I'm a buyer's agent only, and what do you do when you want to sell it? I have to give you to somebody else, don't I? So anyway, as far as I'm concerned, it takes away half of your, half of your business. So anyway, but just remember for South Bay Brokers, BRNN is absolutely required. South Bay Brokers only allows dual agency if it's an in-house. Okay, there's no that's it. You can't change it. Okay, any other questions?
I want to personally thank Annette.
Thank you.
This is- Annette is an outstanding teacher. I've known Annette for 25, almost 30 years, and this is big time for her to come and teach
Yes,
this class.
it is.
Yeah,
That's
among
why
us.
it's packed
She's
out
a
here.
master teacher.
$1,500.
I want you to know she is going to be leading some more classes. Annette, do you want to
Yeah, well,
let them know?
actually what's coming up is, hopefully, it's up in the air right now because we've got to get some more people. But one of the things that we have done, and there are some agents that have actually, Julie Christensen was in my class, I'm trying to think of also in my class.
The ABCs?
No, did you do the
Allison did do it,
Jumpstart?
Jumpstart,
It's
exactly.
fantastic.
That's an outstanding class.
Fantastic class.
I'm doing
Fabulous.
Jumpstart again, starting September 23rd. It's going to be, if you want to go, you'd be actually going down to Mid-Wilshire, which is the California Association of Realtors conference room. I'm going to have to find out the price for you. There is right now no DRE credits, but it's spread out. So I think it's the 23rd, the 13th of October, and the end of October. So that in between, you're going to use some of the skills that you've learned. And I will say that most of the people are still, that were in that group that I trained, we've all done very well. So I have
Yes,
to do it.
it's made a huge difference. Okay.
Love that.
Anyway, thank you again.
Okay.
Very, very much.
So let me know if you're interested.